Are you working on your business or in your business?
What's your passion and your purpose?
Have you considered hiring a business coach?
Or are you just ready to go on vacation?
I know you are.
I am.
If you are, then this is the show for you.
Welcome to Last Call for Plastisol.
Cheers.
Welcome to Last Call for Plastisol. I'm Christy Rossi.
And I'm Jeremy Ray. And again, we don't know what episode this is going to be, but that's okay.
But this morning, we're drinking Prosecco.
Prosecco. And I found out it's Italian.
It's good.
It's good. It's very sweet.
I had to educate Jeremy on the difference between Prosecco and Brut.
Yeah. What is Brut?
Brut is the drier champagne.
Brut, is that the name of it? No, that's
a
kind.
A cologne. It's like a variety.
Okay.
No, do not wear that either. I will vomit.
I was going to say,
in a
can
bucket.
you drink the stuff that's gross. It doesn't smell like cologne. It's very good. It's sweet. We need some orange juice, and then we would have the bougie stuff. What's that?
A mimosa?
A mimosa, yeah. I have
you're
no clue.
the first person that's ever called a mimosa bougie.
Really? It's very bougie.
It's just my everyday.
Oh, wow.
No, I'm just joking.
I've seen people order them on the plane. You know, you get on an early flight or something, and you order them on the plane, and then you're like, hey, what would you like, sir? I'm like, a vodka and cranberry? I don't know. Like, just go for it.
Yeah, send it.
If you're going to go bougie with orange juice, just give me the hard stuff. Anyways, welcome to the show.
Today, we're going to do our sponsor reads.
Yes, and this is going to be for we don't care. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Are you even listening? Did you just fast forward through all these sponsor reads? Probably.
I hope not.
I hope not, though. But here we go. Blue Ridge Screen Products is our first sponsor read. And are you looking to up your print game? Are you wondering if there's a better process to improve your overall print? Are there better products that can help you produce more in a shorter amount of time? Talk to one of our textile print advisors at Blue Ridge Screen Products and see if they can help you improve your game. Or just go to their website, www.blueridgescreenproducts.com, and shop for some of the best products in the industry. Use Last Call 10 at checkout to receive 10% off your first order. Start partnering with your print textile advisor today.
Boom.
Boom. And Aaron is great. We've talked about him so much. We've had him on the show.
We should have t-shirts that say Aaron Fan Club.
Yes. Yes, we will.
Our next sponsor is Monarch Color.
Monarch Color.
Monarch Color Corporation manufactures some of the highest quality and most innovative Plastisol inks currently on the market. Monarch offers a full line of ready-for-use inks, finished ink blending systems, and pigment dispersion blending systems, all of which are available on our standard and low-temp lines. Interested in giving Monarch a try? Head on over to monarchcolor.com to take a look at all of our product offerings and check out the distributor page to find a distributor near you. Monarch Color, we're ink people and we know color.
I believe it. They've been in the industry for a long, long time.
Yeah, I love it.
Yep, cool. And our final sponsor is PMI Tape for What's on Press Wednesday. We've been getting on you these past few episodes about going ahead and posting What's on Press Wednesday. And I think we touched on it last time, and I'm going to touch on that again. PMI Tape sponsors it. They're a great tape product. Split tape, all the different tapes for taping your screen. You shouldn't be taping your screen with anything else. But guess what happens when you post What's on Press Wednesday?
You're entered for a chance to win a free beer.
Absolutely. But what perks do you get from that?
Oh, not only that. Not only are you entered into this, but PMI Tape will repost you. We will repost you. And then our other sponsors will likely repost you.
And
so exposure in the market.
Exposure in the market for free. You basically get paid to post your stuff, and then it gets distributed by everyone.
Yes.
It's a win-win.
Win-win.
So post it. It doesn't matter what you use that money for that we give you for winning. It could be a drink. It could be a cheeseburger.
I feel like they should give it back to us.
They should give it back to us for doing it. Yes. This is a win-win-win.
It's been a long week, guys.
It's been a long week. So without further ado, with the episode.
I hope you guys enjoy it. Hey.
Hey, how's it going? Christy, today we're going to run this thing solo without a guest. Are you okay with that?
Yes, I actually am. I'm really stoked for this episode. I feel like we're probably like 8 or 9 episodes in. Sorry, I have my nose itch.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's time to kind of regroup and talk about our shops, what's happened over the last quarter, talk about our lives, talk about everything.
Sounds
Just
good.
Have a Prosecco.
Have a Prosecco?
Saturday morning Prosecco.
It's sweet, and it's just got a little bit of pop on the end.
Yeah, I like the bubbles. They make me happy.
Is that what makes you happy, Christy? Or is it the alcohol? You know what I noticed? Have you ever watched like all the crazy dating shows like Love at First Sight or anything like that? No?
No.
Oh my gosh, you're missing some total drama. Like,
I don't
it's a
like
total
any
train
of
wreck.
that. Like, I get my anxiety is way too high to watch other people's drama. Like, I can't handle it.
Yeah, I think it just makes me feel better about myself.
Yeah. I like get, I guess, what's that called? An empath? Like when you feel other people's feelings and
Oh,
stuff?
yeah. Oh,
like
yeah,
I go
you
too deep
sympathize.
into it and like
Okay.
I can't handle it.
Okay.
I need
Well,
no drama.
they drink like champagne like it's going out of style. And I'm
Yeah.
like, I've never seen anybody drink that much champagne before.
My friends do.
Wow. So I'm just hanging with the wrong crowd. It's I say it's bougie. Christy says it's an everyday thing.
Well, we were talking earlier, and he said a mimosa made the Prosecco bougie. So just adding OJ ups it for you.
Yeah, I guess so.
This is South Carolina. y'all.
Honestly, I think a screwdriver is kind of a bougie drink too.
Really?
Like, yeah, I just don't know.
You know, growing up,
Anything
my
with-
mom used to drink screwdrivers, and
Yeah.
I thought that was like a cool drink. I've never been to a bar and seen anybody order a
No,
screwdriver.
nobody orders or an amaretto sour.
No.
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 Don't do that, you guys. That's bougie.
So, Jeremy, this episode, we are like 8 episodes in, 9 episodes
Yeah.
into our podcast. Like, how do you think it's going so far?
I think it's going good. I think we're learning.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, we switched backdrops a couple times. We're just kind of figuring everything out. Now we're holding microphones instead of having those things, those boom things on
Yeah.
us. It's one of these things where you just, you know, we're just trying to get episodes out there. We're not pretending we're, as big as all the other shows, but I think we're having fun, and we're hopefully we're providing good content for you guys. If we are, give us a like and a thumbs up and comment in our comments and just let us know. Gosh, man, they should let us know. We should say, hey, come on, let us know what you want us to talk about.
Yeah. And I think we've had a really great variety of people on the show from different aspects of the screen print industry. We've had shops. We've talked about getting an auto. We've talked about branding your shop. We've talked about sales. We've had a shirt manufacturer. We've had a shirt distributor. Like,
yeah,
we've kind
and
of
these
done
are big
the gamut.
names. Yeah, there's some for the first 6 shows. It's been or first 8 shows. It's been good. I mean, Print Girl Mafia was on here. Like the Nikki. That's it. She's cool to be in, and people know who she is, so that's cool. Kind of want to hear what she has to say. And Erin's very knowledgeable, super knowledgeable.
Yes.
AS Color, phenomenal shirts.
Mm-hmm.
They gave us some good ideas during the show.
Yep.
Dello,
Yep,
dude
from
is
McFly.
from McFly is just doing things that nobody's doing and people want to do, and it's really, really, really cool.
One thing I've learned over these past 8 episodes is everyone's doing something different.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's really opened my mind to what's possible in the screen printing industry and not be so like confined to what we're doing within our shop.
Yeah. And it's cool. I think one of the cool things about that we're trying to do, and maybe we don't even realize we're doing it, but like all of our guests are live right now. So they're with us. That's not always the case on podcasts,
Yeah.
And so this is just a different dynamic. You kind of see the awkwardness in us and the awkwardness in our guests and the weird pauses and all that stuff. But it's, it's fun. It's different.
It is fun. I like it.
It's
and I've
not-
gone back and forth whether or not we should do Zoom episodes or not, but I really like being in
This is fun.
in
This is
person
cool.
with people.
Yeah. Plus we get to drink and burp and,
Yeah.
make each other laugh and all that fun stuff, and that's fun too. So I think it's been great, and it's exciting to see where the show's going to go.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah,
can I say something?
Yeah,
we're both in flip flops today because
yes,
I'm in vacay mode.
You are, man. I'm jealous. I went to Key West a couple weeks ago, so I can't complain, but man, I'm jealous of what you're doing. So.
I'm in vacay mode, but then I remembered I need to leave here after the podcast and go embroider some shirts.
Oh, do you?
I leave.
Do you pack already?
No. I've been busy all week.
How many days are you gone?
So today is Saturday. I leave tomorrow morning bright and early to go to Barbados with Gildan, and then I'm gone until Wednesday night. I'm actually coming home a day early from that trip because Thursday both my kids graduate from school.
Okay.
And then Friday I have to get my hair done, dyed for the wedding, and then Saturday we leave for the beach for a week for the wedding.
And then the wedding's that following
Friday.
Got it. So lots of stuff going on.
Yeah.
That's exciting though. So nobody's, your shop's closed.
No, it's going to be open, I think.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, but it's been an interesting week because I've been trying to jam stuff out because I'm going to be not in the shop for 21 days, which is the longest I've ever been away from my shop. And it's unnerving.
Yeah.
And this week I was on press because we were so busy and some other stuff was going on. And you guys, I'm not used to printing.
Yeah, right.
My shoulders hurt, my arms hurt, just being in the heat too, all day. And then trying to manage that with selling and then explaining to my customers that I'm going to be gone and all that kind of stuff. It's a lot to handle.
So some of our viewers are probably like, oh, boo-hoo. You're going to Barbados and you had to print.
Yeah.
No, but...
but being gone and making sure your budget is good for being gone for 21 days when you're the shop owner, it's a lot.
I think, and this is a good opportunity for us to say, I think this episode will talk a little bit about the fact that we've kind of, us as owners, have transitioned to working on our business instead of working in our business. But so we still have to work in our business. So we still have to print every once in a while. We still have to fold, stack it when people call off, or we have to get out there and help out. It's not like we're, sitting back, living the dream and everybody else is doing the work for us. Yeah. There's a lot of work involved in running a screen printing company. So we don't just get to go on vacations and do podcasts and do nothing. Yeah. So I think
even though I would love that,
that's the end game.
Yeah.
Right. We're close. No, we're not close, but we're working on it.
This week, I don't feel like I'm very
close. Not close, but everything will be fine. Yeah. So, work. How's it going for you guys? Are you guys busy?
We are jamming.
Yeah?
Jamming.
That's awesome.
I really wanted to talk about... it's kind of hard because at the end of last year, I was ready to upgrade my shop, and I got picked up by the Gildan board of decorators, and that was a great opportunity for me, and it led to a bunch of different opportunities for exposure for my shop. And I don't think, if I'm being perfectly honest, I don't think I was ready for what the exposure got me, and it's been a little chaotic. Yeah. It's been chaotic at best. I did not have the pieces in place to grow as fast as we grew. And for the past couple of months, I've been working 70, 80 hours a week. Yeah. No joke, guys. And I'm sure everyone has done this when they hit a growth period. And it's scary and it's hard to decide what move to take, because my idea of where I wanted to take my shop, is different than what is happening right now. But I like where it's going right now too. I just didn't know that this was possible. Yeah.
Well, I've seen you grow, and you've made some strategic decisions that I'm considering making, hiring graphics. Mm-hmm. And that seems to be hey, let's just take something off my plate.
Yeah. So GraphX is a really good example of this. When I came back from the Gildan Board of Decorators trip to Honduras in October, a couple people have mentioned, hey, Christy, just from the things you're saying, you should hire out art because you're not a graphic designer. And I know that about myself. I'm a salesperson. So I did hire GraphX. But one thing I didn't anticipate at the time is right when I got back, my production manager decided to leave.
Right.
So I hired GraphX, and it's not cheap.
No.
I'll just go ahead and say that. It's worth
No.
the money, but it's not cheap. So if you think you're spending like around $3,000 a month to hire GraphX, a full-time designer, you need to at least make $10,000 more a month in sales to break even on your GraphX. But can your shop manage $10,000 more a month in production with what you have? And after my production manager left, I didn't move quickly enough to hire that spot again when I had also added GraphX. So then it was just a little chaotic.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And so that's the one thing, you know, I met with a business coach this week, and he's like, you know, I see that one of your goals is to hire out the artwork and try to free yourself up more for other things in the business. How much does that cost? You know? And then he's like, all right, so what's the plan to get that money back? You know, so he's already challenging me for the same things that you just went through.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, you know,
I don't think enough people think about that.
Overhead and everything else. And he's like, no, let's come up with a plan to, one, pay for me to coach you through this, and two, pay for that replacement. And together we can figure that out. So pretty cool to have somebody like that on your side.
It is.
To try to help you out. But that's just the reality of you guys of growth is, things you want to grow, things just happen, and you all of a sudden grow, and you're like, oh, well, I thought we were doing pretty good, and now like we don't know what the heck we're doing.
And I
mistakes
think
start being made.
The best way to put it is you solve one problem, you free up your time, but then you create 5 more problems that you didn't really think through and think you were going to create.
Right.
And then you need to solve those problems, but then the time you were going to be selling more or whatever more,
right,
making your shop more efficient, you've got to be problem solving mode for those until you get those problems solved. So I think it's this, I don't know when the struggle stops of problem solving, getting better, creating new problems, solving those problems. It's exhausting at times. I need a vacation for sure.
Because as an owner, you just find yourself putting out fires like crazy. And that's honestly that time you'll never get back putting out those fires, right? But I feel like there is solutions, and that whole job coach, you know, has kind of pointed those things out to me enough to be like, oh wow, you know, I have to have standard operating procedures for everything so that I can hold my employees accountable to something instead of making it personal, which now it seems like it's always personal because we don't ever think about, oh, we're just a small little shop where we don't need those things. And then all of a sudden, you know, you feel bad. You know, your printer feels bad because he made a $1,700 mistake or something. And then you're like, oh, don't worry about it. You know, it's okay. But it's not okay. Yeah. You've just lost a ton of money on that job. And he's got to redo it.
Together. Yeah.
And you got to keep it together and all that stuff. And if you don't have those systems in place, there's no accountability there. There's no understanding of where that person, you know, how that person can even just excel in his job and get better and grow and all of that fun stuff. So there's just a lot of stuff that that I don't have in place. Yeah. That I should have in place.
Speaking of that, one of the things that I've found really interesting in the past month is the way I communicate with my staff has changed, and the way I kind of level with them. I'm a lot less anxious and must burn it all down if things are going wrong, which I think at the beginning of my screen printing journey, I was a little bit like that. Now I just tell people, hey, your behavior or the things that you're doing are impacting me, my personal life. They're causing me to work more, and I'm okay with that for a short period of time.
Right.
But this is where the business is going now, and the business has become bigger than we initially thought it was going to be, you know, even at the beginning of the year. So this is the behavior that's going to be acceptable going forward, and just kind of leveling with my employees, like, it's time to either step up to this new game
Yep.
Or we can just shake hands and say, good run, you know?
Yeah.
And I think those conversations and like the development of yourself as a manager and a business owner is something we don't talk about enough.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, all right. Tell me guys, if this resonates with you. Tell me if it resonates with you. You basically have employees that, you know, have been here for a while and they're just used to the way things are going, and all of a sudden you're growing and mistakes start being made, and mistakes are starting being made again and again and again and again, and you're like, you know, hey, you just keep on making the same mistakes, and they say, you know, and why are we doing that? You're not doing it this way. Well, I was never told to do it that way. And so you go, uh-oh, I failed on training.
Yeah.
So it goes all the way back. Like, you just want to all of a sudden, like, you know,
it's easy to point the finger.
Top Gun buzz in the tower. I want some butts.
Yeah.
You know, kind of meant, you know, reaction. But the reality is, man, I need better systems in place to train these guys. So then I really can't get on them that much. But then you start to implement that training and they're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
You know, and then all of a sudden now you're like, no, this is the way that it has to go because we're growing.
Yeah. For me, I've always wanted a shop that employed a lot of flexibility for people to have a good work-life balance. And it's come at the cost of my work-life balance at times.
No, that train's left, I think.
The train is left. And it took me, you have been around to see that, you know, process in my mind. But just acknowledging that train is left, and okay, where do we go from here? What can I afford to put in place at this time? What can I not afford? And then
plus you have a ton of life stuff going on. Yeah. So balance
for that. You know, I have 3 kids.
Yeah.
Two in high school, 1 in middle school.
Yeah.
We have a podcast. I like to travel. I like to do all these things in the industry too. And I'm not willing to give any of those up. So it's a constant balancing act for me, and just having honest conversations and really saying, like, the development of my shop, what my values for the shop were at the beginning. As long as I'm still doing right by people, it doesn't mean I can't change the values of the shop and say, like, hey, some of the flexibility is going out the door because we just can't anymore.
Yeah.
You know?
And that's the conversation I kind of had with one of my employees, the sales girl, Haley. She's super great. She does a great job.
She's been with you for a while.
She's been with me for a while, but you know, you start to, okay, I understand why mistakes are being made, because you're doing way more than you used to. In fact, we're going to take some things away from you so that you don't have to do that, and we're going to hire more people. Well, then there's that awkwardness of like, well, I used to do that and I'm no longer doing that. I feel like I should be doing that still. I want to help. And then there's the lack of communication and things break down, and you got to go, all right, listen, things are changing. We're growing. This is the way it has to be moving forward. It's probably going to change again.
Yeah.
We're going to have to adapt and change again. I need you to be on board with that.
Yeah.
And just we're going to eliminate some services. We're going to start doing things differently so that we can't.
And how about, like, if you're ever not on board with it, just let me know.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't have to be a big deal. You know, if you're not on board with it, like, maybe just the relationship or this situation, the time has passed, you know, like.
Yeah.
And I think that's okay to say to people too, like, give them the out without it being a big deal.
Yeah.
If they need it.
If they need it. Yeah.
But I don't think enough people talk about giving people the out if they want it. You know, my business coach, he mentioned to me he had employed his best friend for a while and it just wasn't working out. And he goes, hey, like, I think you should find another job or like look for some other opportunities that better suit your personality. And the guy was like, yeah, this is really not for my personality, but like, I don't want to move on. And he's like, well, you know,
you're not right for us then.
We need to talk about this.
Yeah.
So, like, in our shops, we don't need to avoid the conversations that need to happen because it just causes this built up thing that we don't need to carry with us when we're trying to put out fires. It just like bleeds into other areas of the shop. It's wasted energy.
Yeah, and that goes into hiring and the right people, and getting the people in there that need to be there and not need to be there. I once had an employee that started out great, and then like when other employees came, he just started melting down, and he was never happy.
Yeah. Did you ever figure out why?
I think no. I think there was a lot of just self-confidence issues that he was having, and but he would just say things, and it brought the entire shop down, and I put up with it too long.
Yeah.
And I think that it ruined the morale of the shop, like they were like, oh, and so like for those reasons, I'm like, you know what, from now on, we got to recognize those attitudes, because it just totally affects everybody.
I will agree with that. I used to have an employee that would come in and like raise their voice at me in front of everybody, and it just got to the point where I was like, you know what, that's not acceptable behavior. I don't treat you like that. But I think we need to be conscious of what we allow and what can rub off on other people. And
I'm not saying fire people just because they're in a bad mood.
No, you have a conversation.
There has to be a conversation. You don't know what that person just came from. That person might have came from a terrible fight with their spouse, or something happening with their kid, or whatever else. Like, you got to have a relationship with your employees for sure to be able to have those talks, so that like we can delve into the lives a little bit of them and just try to figure out, hey, maybe today you just need off.
Yeah, and that's okay. And
then that way you're not, excuse me, I just had like a burp and a hiccup, ruining the vibe of the shop.
So Kent, I've talked to a lot of shop owners, and I think it's a thing in the screen printing industry from what I can tell. Well, besides the big giant shops,
right,
is everybody's kind of got a vibe of like friends. So where do you draw the line with your employees, Jeremy? Like, do you guys go out for beers?
Yeah.
Are you friends?
Sometimes we pick, like, and I hate to say we pick and choose. I mean, there's certain situations where we can't be. And that's fine. I think we've made the mistake of being friends with others, and then that's been taken advantage of. So honestly, I would say in the work life, I would say, one, don't hire your friends. Because
I've learned that.
Don't hire your friends. Two, like, try to keep those relationships to just work relationships. It's okay to, be involved and have those personal conversations with them and help them out from time to time, but don't make it your best friend, because that's going to be really hard to let them go if something happens, if they start to take advantage of that. So there's a balance there. Sometimes it's unavoidable, and that's okay too. If you guys can work that out and have that type of relationship, great. But more often than not, we try to not be super close friends with everybody.
Yeah. One of my friends that's a screen printer in New York, he told me, we talk quite often. He told me that his shop is kind of transitioning from only hiring people he knew, or people in the shop, people they knew, to hiring outside people. And then that's presented its own challenges of, okay, you can't call someone an asshole in the shop or something like that, because now you have all these HR issues from, like, it used to be friends to friends, and now it's not. Now it's people that can sue you or would sue you.
Do y'all have those employees that, like, are an HR nightmare, like, and you just can't do anything about them because that's just their personality? I'm sure every I don't think a screen printing shop can have an HR department.
Yeah, I don't know how all that works, but my business
because there's
coach,
a lot of words going around the shop and sayings and things that they're doing and dancing and music and everything else, and I'm like, oh my gosh, if I was back in engineering world, we would be like,
My business coach, he was like, he's helping me hire more employees, and he goes, well, what are you looking for an employee? And I was like, from everybody that I've questioned that has a bigger shop than me, they're like, find someone that doesn't have life ambition. So he's like, how do I put that? He was like, I've literally never hired any, I've never been a recruiter for any job description like that.
My gosh. No life ambition. Wow. Yeah. Well, yeah. So I've got stories.
But with that said, it's like, okay, why do you think that? It's because by the time you train someone to be a really good screen printer, if they haven't been a screen printer and they have ambition to go off and do something else, then they're leaving you, and then you've wasted all that time.
Right.
Because it really takes like a good solid year for someone to be a good printer.
And so that's a good thing, Christy, because like the fact that conversation happened, and you're a business that is okay with, originally a business that was okay with hiring a transitioning mom, with the it's going to be okay when you're ready to get back into the workforce.
Yeah.
This is kind of an in between, and people come and people go, and now you're like, no, I can't have that. I need to.
Yeah. I'm learning over the past couple of months with the exponential growth of our company that like maybe some positions within my shop, that's okay.
Right.
But then other positions, it's not. I need people that are going to take this serious.
Especially a printer.
Yeah.
Because
that's what's going to cost me money.
Printer's going to cost you money. Art, and you kind of gotten rid of the art side of things. But yeah, printer needs to be here every day.
Yeah.
So.
And be paying attention.
And
not hungover, not sleepy, not anything.
Okay. Wow. I think you just named every employee in my shop. They don't listen to this because you know why? Because they're like, it's just like my kids and everything else. They're like, I'm not listening to my dad. I'm not listening to my boss talk. So haha.
Well, you get talked about when you don't listen.
Yeah, I'm going through the same things, Chrissy. It's not anything new.
Well, you know what's funny is I talked to like 5 different shop owners that I'm friends with, and everybody's
going through it.
Through this stuff.
Yeah, it's and we could. Yeah, there's so many things we could talk about. As far as that whole employee situation, boss. Are we a boss? Are we a babysitter? I know that we kind of find ourselves being babysitters to make sure things don't happen. But I think, have you, you said you have a business coach. Has like anything that they've said to you, like, enlightened you to be like, oh my gosh, like I really don't know what I'm doing, like as far as like business is concerned in the
Yeah.
All the time.
It's really interesting too, because I have a finance degree.
Yeah.
And so he thinks I know everything.
Right.
And I don't.
Yeah.
I literally don't. I go, I work so much right now, and I'm like trying to do all these things. And then I also I really value my time with my kids and my fiance as well. Like I'm trying to be all these things to everyone because I really value relationships. So I don't know all my numbers every day. Like I try to keep my spreadsheets and update them weekly and all that kind of stuff. But if I had my way, I would spend more time on that and really know everything. But it's all give and take. Like some days I have to go clean screens, and is that the best use of my time? No, but that's what I have to do today.
You have to do it. Yeah. So, all right. So this is a great topic because this is one of the things that's been brought to my attention, even just going through this business coach thing, was finding time to focus on your business instead of working in your business.
Yeah.
Right. And so, have you considered documenting your week?
I do. Yes. I document my whole day every day.
Yeah.
I write a list of every task I do. Well, whether it's like sent graphics or revision for artwork, sent an email to this customer, followed up with this.
By hand, or are you writing it in by hand?
I write it in a notebook every day.
So you journal your day.
Yeah.
So are you able to go back and look at that and go, how much time did I waste?
Well, so the reason I do it is because I have ADD and I'm like a squirrel and I like to do all the things. So some days when I don't do that, I find myself going home and being very unfulfilled because I feel like I didn't get a lot accomplished. And so writing my day, and if it takes up 2 notebook pages, I'm like, oh, I did do things today.
Right. Okay.
They just didn't move the ball a long way, but we got all these processes started for sales. We got all these processes started for getting jobs done. We got, I had good conversations with people. I did all these things that mattered.
Right. Well, so now the question is can we look back at that chart and see like what the high value activities are in that chart.
Yes.
The HVAs and the low value activities.
Yes. And some of those, I will say, Jeremy, like when I was doing that, and that's when I decided to hire GraphX for my artwork, because I was doing all the steps, all the proofs, and I like my proofs to my customers within an hour of inquiry. So I was stopping other things to get those things done. And then some days you just get so many inquiries that you can't get people proofs in an hour. So that's why I decided to hire them, is to take that load off and put my time to better use.
Do you feel like you're putting your time to better use?
Yes. But that is an important thing to point out. Yeah. You are responsible for making your time put to better use. I could go have a coffee or a Prosecco with that time. I could go chat with people. But if I'm not responsible enough to go put my time to better use, then that's on me.
Yep. Perfect. Yeah, no, I 100% agree with that. And I think that that's the process I'm doing right now. And I think that's, valuable for you guys out there that might be in kind of like that growth period and not really, quick questions like, are you tracking anything? Mm-hmm. Are you keeping up with like just the small things, your time and all of that? Well, I don't have any time. Well, now you need to start thinking about that, because you have to have time to accomplish
and
things.
And can I say something about that? I talk to a lot of shop owners on a weekly basis. Yeah. Y'all got a lot of time. You're liking every one of my Instagram posts.
Yeah.
Y'all got more time than you think.
Yeah, and to them that might be valuable for them, because they just need a break from them. But from them,
I feel that.
Yeah,
I love being on Instagram. I like seeing what everybody's doing. Yeah. I feel like there's value in it if you're going on for a purpose. Are you connecting with other shops? Are you connecting with your customers? Are you trying to sell? Are you trying to see what's trending? Like, there's all these things that it's value. But if you're just going on there and checking out for a couple of hours, that's not good.
That's not good at all. Yeah. So tracking your day, figuring out the high value items, eliminating things. That's just the first steps in really kind of improving your business.
Yeah, I would say tracking, and then also like taking a good look in the mirror. Take some ownership.
Right.
We are all owners of shops, but how often do we look at ourselves? Like you even said it in like managing your employees. Like, are you having the conversations and training your employees the way they need to be trained? Or are they all struggling and you didn't do the training? You know, I had a problem with GraphX. Like, it was good, but then I was like all over the place, and we're getting a ton of inquiries every day, but I wasn't putting the necessary standard operating procedures in place for them to get their job done efficiently without me having to handhold them all day. And at first, I was just frustrated. And I'm like, why can't they get it?
Right, because they're not reading your mind.
Yeah, but I wasn't articulating what was in my mind to them. Yep. And so the onus is on me,
Yeah, and that's just, like, we started to, like, almost put Band-Aids on things because of that. And the reality is like, no, we've got to go back and refigure out, like, better communication. We got to figure out processes in order so that, like, everybody's on the same page, so that we don't have to, like, employees don't have to read our minds. Companies that we hire don't have to read our minds.
Yeah. And I think another great part of that is Printavo. Like, if you guys don't use Printavo, it's a good way to get everything out of your brain or your salespeople's brains into the computer, so anyone in your shop can know what's going on in a job without coming and talking to you and wasting that time.
Yeah, and that, I mean, honestly, for me, just going through the initial training with Printavo, I was like, oh my God, all these statuses are like a life changer. And then I got through them, and I'm like, I was talking with Matt, and he's like, you got 1 million statuses. You went overboard. You got to take some of those out.
That's interesting, because I didn't have enough.
Right. Yeah. He's like, you got too many. He's like, you know, I could tell, like, the engineering side, you just want everything. He's like, people aren't going to follow all that stuff. You had all these task lists and everything else. So there is a balance there, and I feel like we're constantly changing that because of what we're doing and growing. But the cool thing is there's that tool there. Now, it's not 100% perfect. It could do a lot more things, but man, it's specifically meant to run a screen printing shop, and so that's what we needed. The addition of the power scheduler when I'm running 3 presses.
We don't use power scheduler yet.
We tried, and then we're going to try to implement it again. It's just, you come to find out, I need, in order to do that, I need better systems in place because there's extra steps involved, and our sales department wasn't used to doing it that way, and our production manager wasn't used to doing it that way, and our scheduler wasn't used to doing it that way. And when is a good way to do, add it to the power scheduler, and we hired a purchasing person, and it just added all these extra steps to the whole process. And we're like, all right, we're going to put that on hold again. Mm-hmm. It's there. The tool is available when we need it, but we're going to now go back and just revamp everything the way we're doing it so that we can make small improvements and then get to there eventually.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point too, and that's one thing I've learned is it's okay to piecemeal things, because I met with my Printavo rep. It's not Matt. I know Matt. Gosh, what is his name? Daniel, maybe?
Oh, you have a guy. Okay.
I had a girl before, but now she's in charge of everybody.
Anna or Ava and...
But, as I added more things in Printavo, I go, okay, don't stop what you're talking about right there. I'm going to go and do these 2 more things this month.
Yep.
And then I'm going to meet with you again.
Right.
But we're just doing a little bit at a time because we've got all these other things changing in the shop. And I know it's going to happen when we start changing things. We're going to find more hiccups. And then we need to work those out before we add too much.
Yep.
And it's kind of like training your staff. Like, how do you balance getting everyone on board with a process that may change?
Yeah.
Once you figure out what the hiccups are, it's a challenge.
Yeah. No, it's absolutely a challenge. So I guess all that being said is we don't know what we're doing all the time. we act like we know. No, and I feel like every shop's different. So like what we're saying is going on with our shops. Yeah. It can, it's probably not going on with your shops, or maybe you're like relating 100% with us and going, all right, what do you do? Like some of the things, we started doing was, like adapting. Like Simon Sinek says, like when you're going through a hard time, you either adapt or you die.
Next step. Look at the next step you can take.
Yeah. And so sometimes it's like a hard evaluation of like, yeah, you might be really used to doing, I don't know, digital graphics. And that was like, something that you did and added to your repertoire, or sublimation, or I know one, heat press vinyl. Mm-hmm. Well, we like to have heat press vinyl just in case somebody wants a custom shirt, mm-hmm. But like how much life-sucking, time is heat press vinyl do for you?
I know, and it's one of
sublimation
those things,
was the same way.
I keep it from like my high value clients. If they want one off, like I'm not going to tell them no. Like,
I tell them no. I've just had to make the decision to tell them no. Yeah. Like I send them to somebody else. And it's okay that I send them to somebody else.
It is okay to say no.
And so like some of those things you just have to start to eliminate, and again, what's high value for your company. And then, like embroidery. Embroidery is super high value for us. Yeah.
I'm so glad I added embroidery.
And that was a great ad. Sublimation, not so much. We did it for masks when we were in COVID. So we got rid of sublimation. I got rid of vinyl. I got rid of, I started going to networking groups, and I partnered with a sign shop that does vehicle wraps and in like large format graphics. Mm-hmm. I'm happy to give him work because he sends me all kinds of screen printing. Yeah. Like he sends me his clients that are like, man, I would need an outside salesperson to go get that client. Yeah. And he sent them to me. So that's
awesome.
So like those types of partnerships, like think about that, you guys. Like there's opportunities out there that you may be thinking like, no, it's all up to me and whatever I do and everything else. And it's really not. Like you start to make friends in the industry and share, mm-hmm. Information and share clients and share, and give referrals and things like that. And all of a sudden, like, you're growing even more because of it. And you're not going through those headaches because somebody else does it for you.
Already does it well.
So, and I feel like that's like you make these decisions to maybe contract some stuff out.
Mm-hmm. I'm contracting out right now.
You contract out, especially when life stuff happens. You know, I got to go get married. I got to go to Barbados.
Yeah.
I got to do my thing, you know.
Gotta do it.
So 21 days. So yeah, you have to contract out. Let's say embroidery. You're saying no to embroidery. Why are you saying no to embroidery? Or maybe you're saying yes to embroidery and you suck at it.
Yeah.
You know, contract it out. You know,
yeah,
do
like
things like
we
to
are very
focus on
good
your
at like
business.
1 and 2 color embroidery, but I contract everything else out.
Yeah. So
know?
and so again, just assessing your business is, I guess, the point. Assessing the business to find out like what works for you, what doesn't work for you, and if you haven't spent time on that because you're out in the shop doing it, then you know you're going to get burned out.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I didn't think about that, but trying to learn too much or be too much at one time, you will get burnt out.
Yeah,
I've been there.
Yeah, most people do. So there's that myth that like after 5 to 7 years, you're gonna be great, and then you're gonna be bankrupt because you just burn out.
Yeah.
And what's the saving grace and all that? What helps people survive past that 5 to 7 year mark?
Mm-hmm.
It's actually focusing more on your business instead of in your business.
Yeah.
It's that processes and things to.
So if you are focusing on your business, what are you specifically focusing on this month?
This month is standard operating procedures for me.
In what part?
Well, one, it's art, because I'm going to do the same thing as you, and I'm going to get rid of art. But in order to do art, or to get rid of art, I've learned from your mistakes.
Yeah.
You sharing with me the SOP nightmare.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm going to learn from that, and I'm going to make my SOPs before I actually hire that out.
Perfect.
Yeah. And then on top of that, I'm going to justify doing it first. So like I have to know where that money's going to be coming from to be paid.
Perfect.
To paid out.
Yeah.
Right? So that's one major step. And then SOPs, but in order to do SOPs, I got to free up some time.
Yeah.
And
so that's where the balancing act comes in.
That's the balancing act. So this next month is me figuring out how to free up some time to focus on SOPs.
Mm-hmm.
And then once I do that, it's just even for art.
Yeah.
Right now, I could just do one for art.
One for art.
Justify it, contract it out.
Mm-hmm.
And then now that's even more time for me.
Yeah.
And then I go to the next step.
So, and
How about you?
like I will say for justifying the price of something like Graphics, you know, $10,000, that's not that much. That's like 2 to 3 screen printing jobs.
Right.
You could sell that in a day.
Yeah.
You know, like if you were diligent, you could go out and get that in a day.
Right.
And cultivate those relationships, ask for referrals, all of that. So I'm not trying to scare people when I say like justify the expense of something.
Yeah.
But you need to be aware that the effort is going to be needed to be made.
Yep. Well, and so what I challenge people to do, because I thought of things differently up to a certain point, and then last year it kind of changed for me, was, all right, so I'm sitting there saying it's going to be way too expensive to buy another auto.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be way too expensive to buy an auto coder. It's going to be way too expensive to buy an auto reclaim. Maybe 15 years from now, I'll be there.
Yeah.
You know, like 10 years from now, maybe 5 years from now, I'll make a plan. Maybe I'll do that. And I'm sitting there watching my screen guy struggle to put emulsion on. So then I have to put emulsion on, right?
Yeah.
And then our business is growing. We order another auto because to keep up with our business.
Mm-hmm.
That just accelerates. Now I've got 3
Now you have more
machines.
problems. Yeah.
I've got more problems coming on, and my screen guy is now struggling twice as much, right, to keep up.
Yeah.
And then, you know, one thing leads to another, and I got to fire my screen printing guy or my screen guy, right?
Yeah.
And then now I've got to hire somebody else, and I'm like,
Reteach them.
reteach everything, and I'm like, oh my gosh, you know, like, it's like I've created a monster.
Yeah.
And so what's valuable? like growing the company or spending all your time training people that are just going to quit because they're overwhelmed. Right. So then I was like, you know what? If I buy a machine to coat the screens, it's $15,000. That's nothing.
Yeah.
$15,000 is nothing. So if I can get that thing in here, and I did, then all we're doing is pushing a button. And that machine never calls off sick. And my screen guy is like, thank God I don't have to coat screens anymore in that same way. And so then the next honest step for me was to go, man, now he's spending all of his time at the washout booth. So can I justify buying an auto coater, auto washer, auto reclaim? And oh my gosh, that just went from 15 to 50.
Yeah.
Whoa.
You're good at spending money, Jeremy.
I know, but that machine never calls off.
Yeah.
Right.
It's true.
And so that guy's production has ramped up so that we never have to worry about screens anymore.
Yeah.
Right? He's flying through them. He actually has more time to come out here on the floor and help.
That's awesome.
So, yes, money hurts the bottom line, but there's good money and there's good debt and bad debt.
For sure.
And so you have to make those decisions. You have to understand that and justify it. And if you can justify it with time gained and less labor, I'm paying him less labor to do the same job.
Yeah.
In fact, he's taking half the time did it in the past, probably a quarter of the time he's doing it in the past. And he's now participating in other things.
But the onus is on you to keep him busy for other things.
Yep. And so now he's moving in.
And not just let him twiddle his thumbs and let that money go to waste, or that time that's freed up go to waste.
And so we changed our mindset in that and went ahead and got those things, and it has been a relief. We don't have to worry about the screen department anymore.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Now, not in the same ways as before. There's other things.
Yeah.
But yeah, now it's shipping and receiving and purchasing, and those things have changed.
Yeah.
And just keeping up with the shop and printing, and so there's a lot of, you kind of go, all right, maybe you got to spend some money to take care of the problems instead of just you doing them yourselves.
Yeah.
Because I was the one putting emulsion on. So that's one of the things I had to do. Hire it out.
So
with a machine.
With my shop, last month, it was about improving our print process.
Right.
I went ahead and spent some money and just revamped the whole process at once. I did our emulsion, I did our screens, I did our squeegees, I did our ink all at once. Better prints. And it saved a ton of time on press, saved a ton of time dialing in.
Probably saved ink.
I don't know about that. I know that that's what everyone says. I don't know if we're going through more ink because we're busier, or if we're laying more ink down on the shirts. It doesn't feel thicker.
It's good to troubleshoot all that, though.
So that's something I'm still navigating, but the prints look remarkable. It's easy to print. Once it's set up, there's no fiddling with it afterwards. Also, in that process, I learned a couple of my bulbs were going out on my flash, so I had to replace all those. Some of my carriages in the press were just getting worn out. So I needed to replace those to get a more consistent print too. So I spent a lot of money last month dialing everything back in to get a better print. But I'm very happy with what we're able to put out currently. This month is just dialing in my workflow with my employees and getting everybody back on the same page of this is how much we need to work. This is everybody's job. And I'm not changing anything else until I get that right. Right now. And there's the caveat in there is I'm gone for 21 days, you know? So getting everybody back in line, giving everyone some grace for me being gone too and having to work remotely.
That's tough. That's tough to, but I feel like you can come back renewed and ready to hit the ground running again.
Yeah.
And that's where maybe that kind of new system goes into place, and this is the way we're doing it from this point on. We're going to put a stake in the ground, and this is what we're doing.
Yeah. So I'm excited about
That's
that.
exciting.
And then also, like, we're partnering with a couple of other shops to contract out bigger jobs. Anything over 1,000 pieces, we're not doing in-house anymore.
Yeah.
We're getting rid of those. My shop's just too small.
Mm-hmm.
But it's okay. Like, before, it would have stressed me out, and we would have been working overtime and all that. Now, there's people that can do it in 2 hours. Like, why are we doing it?
Yep. True.
You know?
1,000 pieces in 2 hours might be too much, but yeah. Anyways, it's I understand. And I think that's smart.
Yeah.
For sure.
So that's where I'm going.
Cool. Yeah.
And I'm going on vacation.
And you're going on vacation really soon. I will say I had those questions.
Do you want to ask me anything else?
No, I think that something that we can part with in our conversation is that I don't know. Do you have mission and vision for your company?
No. You know why? And my business coach asked me this the other day. He goes, Christy, how much money do you want to make? What do you want your life to look like? Any of that. And I was almost embarrassed to tell him.
Yeah.
Like, my life has changed so much in the past 5 years. You've known me for 8 years.
Yeah.
Like, my life has changed so much between getting divorced, being a single mom, and now I'm going into the next step of getting married again and building a life with someone else.
Yeah.
And also my kids are getting older, and then my shop is evolving as well. And then I'm evolving within the industry, and the vision and mission that I had for my life last year is completely different than it is right now. And my values are different. Well, my core values are the same.
Core values the same, yeah.
But what I know is possible now is completely different from what I knew is possible then.
Right.
And I don't have it figured out.
Yeah. So here's the thing that the job coach kind of said to me, and I thought that this was something that like I can see it. I think it's tangible to do. We have a mission and vision. It's changed. Mm-hmm. It was something that we just kind of did. Like, the mission and vision's always at the beginning is just pay the bills.
Yeah.
However you need to pay the bills. There's your mission, there's your vision. Mm-hmm. Right?
And I think a lot of people start out that way.
Everybody starts off that way. So, but to sit here and really think about what's important to you, because like we talked about today, there has to be a point where you stick a stake in the ground and you lay those things out on what is important to you, so that you can share those things with your employees and get the right people in your team to buy into what's important to this company. You make it about the company.
Yeah.
Right? It's about the company. This is what's important to the company. This is the standard that we're going to run our company from now on.
Yeah.
Right. And it could just be 4 or 5 things like, great customer service, high integrity, whatever, and what's integrity mean to you? It might mean something different to somebody else. Mm-hmm. So you really have to spell out what you're talking about. And when you say integrity, right. And those key kind of valued words, also consider the people, the shops that you admire, the other business owners that you admire. You might have some friends that say, man, I love the way they do business. Well, go find out what they're doing. What
exactly they're doing that you like, because you might not like all parts of it.
You might not like all parts of it. Don't try to mimic somebody else. Come up with your own, so that when you share them with your employees, and then you take it the next step further and you say, all right, here's where we're at as a company. Here's where we want to be. Here's where you fit into the company. And here's where you can be later on if you continually push for that. So now you're driving these employees to basically work for the greater good of the company instead of themselves or you personally. Mm-hmm. Right? And so that's the beauty about it, is that if, for instance, people start making terrible mistakes, you go back and you say, hey, right, usually you just want to go, like I want to, and it's personal, right?
It's your money.
It's your money. It's personal.
Yeah.
But what you could do is now, once those systems are in place and once those values are in place, you can go to that customer or you can go to that employee and go, hey, remember when we talked about that, where you wanted to be in the company and where you saw yourself? And I talked about like how you get there is to live up to these things. Like the mistakes you're making will never get to where you want to be in the company because you're not living up to these things.
Yeah.
And so is that what you want to continue to do? Because if so, then we're going to have to part ways.
Yeah.
But if not, if you can make back improvements and you make it about now the greater good, right? Rising tides raises all ships. So if you can make it about your business as being that kind of what the investment's in from everybody has an input and a value, then it's so much easier to hold them accountable.
Yeah.
Right? And you can have those hard talks and it's not personal anymore.
Correct. Yeah.
They bought into it. They bought into it. So there's a lot of value in doing that. If you're not doing that, it's okay, but you're just running a business based on what you may or may not have communicated to your employees. And they're trying to read your mind.
Yeah, just think about it and like let it process a little bit. Drink some Prosecco and let it process, like meld in, and then take a couple days, and then think about how you're doing things.
Yeah, it's sometimes it just seems like, oh well, that's just that kind of culture, mindset, and we're not there. We don't need to be there. But oh my gosh. Like when you start running into major problems and you find yourself stressed and overwhelmed and everything else, like you probably should have did it already.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Okay, so Jeremy, a thing in our podcast is passion and purpose.
Yep.
So I was thinking about this on the way over here.
Yep.
And how it kind of develops. Jeremy, June, what is it, 2nd?
Yeah.
June 2nd.
June 2nd.
2023. What is your passion and what is your purpose?
So I would say that my passion is to really grow this business for the employees, 2 for who I potentially am going to hand it off to. So like I want to get this, my passion is to get this built up to where I can hand it off to somebody else, whatever that looks like. So kind of like that's my purpose or my passion, but I feel like my purpose in it is to be a good, like for me, relational, like be that kind of relationship guy that's going to be able to kind of pull everything together in a way like, that's going to not seem like super like a big old nasty boss kind of thing, but also like not be a best friend with somebody, but just kind of provide that kind of relationship. So like relationships are like really important to me. So I feel like my purpose is to be that
cultivating a community,
cultivating that community through relationships. So that's kind of, I feel like that's my purpose. And to try to combine my passion into that is what I'm trying to figure out. Yeah. Right. So how about you?
So my passion, I think it is like the greater decorated apparel industry.
Okay.
I love learning about this industry. I love learning about all the different people that come into it, everything that we can learn from each other, and then teaching people who know less than us about certain areas. Like I feel like we all have so much to give each other. So like just continually being a lifelong learner. And I love this industry. Like I think there's so much value in the world of like how much money is spent in this industry, how much benefit businesses get from the decorated apparel industry. I'm just very passionate about the decorated apparel industry in general. My purpose is showing my children that you can make a career and a life out of anything you want. You just need to have the passion around it.
The love for it.
Love for it. And find your own way in it.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't have to look like what everybody says your life needs to look like.
That's evidence of every single person we've interviewed on the show. Everyone's done it differently.
Yeah. So I would say that currently June 2nd, 2023, that's my passion and purpose. Jeremy's like, see you tomorrow, Christy.
No, it's going to change. Well, and so here's the thing. I'm like 2 months ago, my passion was different.
Yeah.
Right.
I think that's what's interesting to think about is how your passion and purpose develop over time.
It does. I think it's a challenge, and you should at home. You guys should do that as well. Like, just set down some time to just figure that out. I mean, talk about it with your spouse. What do you think my passion and purpose is? Have them tell you what they think it is. That's scary.
It is.
Yeah, they might go.
Be like, do the laundry.
Do laundry is my pet. Like, I wish it was your passion to do laundry and empty the dishwasher. But no, it'd be like, try to be serious about it. You know what? Yeah, that's the scary thing, is asking your spouse, because they'll be really truthful with you. You know? Especially if they don't work with you. So and then ask them.
It's been interesting. With my fiance, he's, I've gone through times where I'm like, I don't make a ton of money in this industry. Should I try to do something else? And he's like, I literally can't envision you doing anything else. You're so passionate about what you're doing, and you love to go to work most days. I was going to say every day, most days.
It may require Prosecco.
Yeah. You love to go to work. You love talking about it. When someone wants to talk about it, you light up. Like, come on now.
It's great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, cool. This has been a fun episode. I mean, it's like a little catch-up, different episode. Yeah. Lots to talk about, and I'm sure we'll have more of these.
Yeah. So thank you guys for listening.
Yeah. Please like, click, and subscribe. That's most important right now. If you're on YouTube, please subscribe to that and just kind of ding the bell. Like, when you do those things, like, it sends out your like kind of algorithm to like your people, right? Like
your people,
like your contacts and stuff. And it's like all of a sudden we kind of grow in that, and like, we're doing this for you guys. We're not gaining anything out of this. I wish we were.
No, I like it though.
It's fun.
I actually am gaining something from it. I like talking about all this stuff.
Yeah,
and it's made me think about my business more.
Monetarily, I should say.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like monetarily, we're not. So this is just fun for us. So please help us to keep this going by liking, clicking, subscribing, sharing, commenting, doing all those things for us. That would be awesome. Thank you so much, you guys.
And until next time.
Cheers.
Cheers.